happy that your relationship with your daughter has improved. Well, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Dr. Janice Fortman again, coming to you live with two extraordinary guests this evening. I am so honored to have both of them here. I'm going to bring them in, but let me tell you a little bit about the show. This show is about relationships, all kinds of relationships, and communication, because as we all know, you can't have a relationship, a decent relationship or a positive relationship without communication. But tonight, I'm going to bring to you two people who you should know. This is Joshua Hoyt, and I'm going to say this, the future mayor of Farmington, Minnesota, and Mayor Vernard Alsberry, the mayor of Hazel, Crest, Illinois. Good evening to both of you. How are both of you doing this evening?
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you both for being here. Let me say just a little bit about both of you. I'm going to start with Vernard Alsberry. He is the mayor of the village of Hazel Crest, which is a diverse community of about 14,000 people, located just 25 miles from Chicago. He was initially elected in 2013 and re-elected in 2017. And also just some of the things that he's doing. He served as president of the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association from 2017 to 2018, and is the first mayor to serve 2 terms in the history of this organization. He presently serves as on the executive board of the organization called SSMMA, which is the Southland Mayoral Black Caucus. That's a mouthful. And he's on the executive board of the Metropolitan Mayors Caucus. He's got so much here. He's an executive board member of the South Suburban Land Bank Development Authority, and he is the former president of the Southwest United Way, where he presently serves on the executive board. He is also a veteran. He served in the United States Air Force, rising to the rank of Staff Sergeant. Let's see what else. What else do I have over here? Oh, he earned an Associate of Science degree in Physical Therapy from the University of Mississippi and Community College of the Air Force, and a bachelor's degree in health and a master's degree also in public administration. Wow, Bernard.
Well done, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
And so now let me tell you about Joshua. He has been a Farmington's Minnesota City Council member since 2019. And you know what? You have something in common with Mayor Alsberry. You both were write-in candidates for councilman, and you were elected. Okay. And Joshua is the owner of Veteran Design Build Incorporated, which is a construction service disabled veteran-owned small business. He's a member and advocate for the National Association of Small Businesses. He is also on the he is an executive committee member for SAVE, which is the Suicide Awareness Voices of Education. And he is the founder of Farmington Society Awareness Group. Presently, he serves on the Dakota Communication Center Board of Directors, and on the Board of Directors, and let's see, what does that say? Dakota Broadband Board, which they oversee fiber assets for the county. He is the organizer of Farmington's 2020 community food distribution with 60 plus volunteers, and they have served 1,400 residents over 20,000 pounds of food. Wow. He was an honor graduate, air traffic control, basic school, and served as radar air traffic controller. I tried to be a traffic controller one time, but anyway. Joshua served he's a disabled veteran and served in the United States Marine Corps.
Hoorah!
Hoorah.
I wanted to say hoorah. You beat me to it. Hoorah! From 1998 to 2001. And he's been covered by so many news outlets. He's someone you should know. Fox News, NPR, the Pioneer Press, Star Tribune, etc., etc., etc. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Farmington, Minnesota. It has a population of about a little over 23,000 people. It is the 47th largest city in Minnesota. And just someone that you should, both of them are people that you should know. Now, I'm going to start off with something that I want to know. And I want to, by the way, wait a minute. I have to say this. Vernard Alsberry just celebrated his 65th birthday. So
Happy belated.
Thank
happy
you.
birthday to you.
You don't look a day over 35.
Oh, thank you so much.
Right.
I'll take that.
All right.
So, you know what I want to know? What does a mayor actually do? Now, and I want that. Actually, you know what, Bernard? Why don't you tell us, what does a mayor do?
Well, there's different forms of government. You have administrative form of government, managerial forms of government. You have weak council, strong council forms of government. Village of Hazel Crest is a managerial form of government. Well, we really have a village president and a board of trustees. But the job and the title is the same. They're interchangeable from a village president of the board to the mayor. And basically we are the executives of the communities that we oversee as public servants. We actually make sure we develop policies. We develop policies along with our boards. We try to push those and make sure those policies are carried out. Again, it's the chief executive position, so you're responsible for whatever happens, no matter if the fire department happens at the fire department, the police department, or public works, wherever something goes on. At the end of the day, even though your directors are the ones who direct the day-to-day activities, and us having the village manager works the day-to-day. When it comes to policies and making sure policies are carried out, it always falls on to the mayor. We should be the ones actually kind of developing a vision and a direction for our communities with the input of our citizens and residents and our board, because your boards are very important also. And so we are the ones that are the leads, I explain that way, to make sure things are carried out in an appropriate manner. Because at the end of the day, no matter what anyone says, it falls on you.
Wow,
That's a lot.
That's a lot of responsibility. So Joshua, I know you were sitting on the city council. So what made you want to take this on? What made you decide that you wanted to be the mayor of Farmington?
So within the city of Farmington, we have a weak mayor council. We've got 4 council members and then the mayor. Each has the same statutory authority in terms of the weight of their vote. All 5 of us have 1 vote. But at the end of the day, in my mind, the vision of the mayor is to be the lead champion for your city, to be the visionary, the single greatest community steward, pretty much that ambassador and champion that is, doing everything that revolves around the city in terms of whether you want to call it selling or just, celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
As a council member, 2 years ago, when I made a commitment to the residents of the city of Farmington that it wasn't going to be just a policymaker position. It was going to be increased transparency, servitude leadership on the streets, doing the work, having the conversations. And our current sitting mayor, after a 3-4-year term, so he's got 20 years combined, 8 in the planning commission and then 12 as mayor. He's just simply retiring. He's walking away and a huge commitment of his life towards the city of Farmington. And we thank him for that. But I recognize when he was walking away that our city needed a new, fresh, definitely forward-thinking form of leadership and one that practices servitude leadership. So I said, let's roll. It's what we do. Let's get to work.
Okay.
Right.
So since you decided to run, what questions are you asking yourself lately?
What questions am I asking myself lately? Honestly, like why are you doing this? And truthfully, it's because in order to be completely committed, you have to reaffirm all of the time and give yourself the validation as to why you're doing this. And so I'm constantly challenging myself. There is no bigger critic of myself than myself. So for me, it's an internal checks and balances. It's making sure that, my head is right, my direction is right, my intentions are right. That I'm not being swayed by anything outside influence, current event situations, whatever it may be, just making sure that it's pure and for the residents of our community. So.
Okay. All righty. So, Mayor Alsberry, what's the most rewarding part of your job?
Seeing things come to fruition.
Okay.
To actually build out. And just to piggyback a little bit off of Joshua, one thing I've found in being an elected official is that if usually military guys, we're pretty good in leading. You know, when I first ran, my tagline was service before self.
Okay.
And that is something that when you're in the military, you don't have to be a colonel or whatever. Usually the sergeants, the staff sergeants, technical sergeants, your master sergeants, we actually lead individuals. And so we actually understand first following, because when you first come in, you follow. You understand, you begin to understand that the value in following, and then you understand the importance of leading. And that's something that I don't care if you spend one day in the military, you learn that's how to actually be successful and you're able to move things. And so every person I've met who have asked for leaders who ran for elected office, if they're military, they usually do very well because it's not about them. And so it's about what you do for the people that you're serving. And I think for me, and as going back to your question, the thing that's always excited me as a trustee and as the village mayor or president is that to be able to have successful goals that I have accomplished, that I've set with my board, with my team. And that has not always been that way. When I first got there, I did not have the board. It was me, two others, and everybody. It was a battle for 18 months. But we, now as we move forward together, all the goals we've set, we've been able to accomplish. And even to help that person that comes up there and can't pay that water bill that week, to actually be able to say, hey, and our town's small enough because I know that person. Let me see what we can do to help you, to make your next step, and so that's the most rewarding thing to me, to be able to make the decisions that change lives. And on a local level, you can do that right away. Some people want to be state representatives, state senators, or Congress people, but we are right there where rubber meets the road. If someone is not able to flush their toilet, we are in trouble.
Wow.
And so we control your life. I tell people all the time, local politics controls your day-to-day life. We make decisions where you can walk your dog with a leash or without a leash.
Okay.
So, and that's important.
Wow. So, Joshua, I know that when you are in government and you are a leader, you have a vision. How do you get people to buy into your vision, especially the ones who don't vote for you? How do you get them to really buy into your vision?
I think first and foremost, I think you have to have an understanding that, and Simon Sinek said this very well, it's the theory of adoption of innovation, right? It's understanding that there are innovators, that there are early adopters, there's an early majority, a late majority, and laggards. It's an amazing model because I think there's a common disbelief that, let me paraphrase, I think it's commonly mistaken that people believe that when they share an idea, a concept, a vision, that people are going to buy in or they're not. Okay. So I think you have to step back and say, here, certain people are going to buy into a piece of the vision. Some of them are going to be all in. Some of them are going to be a little skeptical, and some of them are never coming on board. You just have to accept that that's the reality of the situation. And I think you can describe it, you can explain it, you can lay out your plan, talk about the actionable items, because inputs equal outputs, talk about the actionable items. And as you start to work down that path, each segment of those that are adopting kind of your mantra, they're following along with your vision, they're going to get little nuggets and different pieces at different waypoints. And it just it validates certain pieces of it. Selling a vision can be big and grand, or it can be very simplistic and easily executable and accomplished with minimal effort. But just understanding that people are going to buy in at different phases, and challenging yourself while you're doing it to engage everyone that you can.
Oh, okay. All righty. So, Mayor Alsberry, you've been reelected twice. What's your secret sauce?
Hard work. I mean, and Joshua put it in some great words. And some of a simple ways to put it is that some people are going to be with you. They're going to, and the second election is always the most difficult because you got some things that you're able to accomplish, some things you're never going to accomplish. You have people who are going to be with you and they're all in, and then you're going to have cave people, where citizens against virtually everything. And so they, no matter what you do, it's something wrong. But you learn to just keep doing things that you listen to the citizens and you move in that direction. People forget sometimes when we're running for office that we actually live in these communities. And so we have a vested interest in seeing success and seeing our communities grow, seeing people move back to the community, seeing businesses come into the community. So we're not outside of that circle. And sometimes some people will get frustrated with you because you don't see it their way. And there's nothing wrong with that. I tell people all the time, you don't have to agree with me. Just give me a chance to show you what I'm trying to do. And if you give me a chance, and if I don't succeed, I'll be the first one to tell you, we need to try to do it a different way. Let's try it your way. But if I succeed, work with me to make it better. And that's difficult sometimes because, no matter which size your community is, all of us have the same issues in every town I've been in and been involved with it. I've been involved with the Illinois Municipal League, which is a group of all the mayors in the state of Illinois. We get together every year. And no matter how big the town is, whether we're talking to the mayor of the city of Chicago, or we're talking to a town, Stickney, where we have maybe 9,000 people, the issues are the same. It's just less people. That's
something that I wanted to ask, and I'm glad you said that, because when I look at Farmington, I did my research on Farmington, and then I look at Hazel, Crest, and they're two different cities, so to speak. Hazel Crest is about 80% African American. Farmington is 90% white. Hazel Crest median income is like around 60,000-70,000, where Farmington is a little over 105,000. And then I looked at the poverty rate, where in Farmington it's a little over 2%, and in Hazel Crest it's a little over 16%. And so when you say that it's all about the same, the issues, and I guess the problems or whatever you're looking at is the same. That's something that I really didn't know, because I thought, okay, if you have, certain demographics and you have different demographics, then you have different issues, and so am I wrong?
People are people. People have the same issues no matter where they live, the income level, the culture of the community. Believe me, everybody got a Jethro, and everyone got somebody who never caused problems. I mean, everyone has that person. And I've talked to many mayors over the years, and we sit around and talk. I live right by Olympia Fields, where the median income is 200-some thousand. And I sit and talk to his mayor. Oh my gosh, it's the same. It's the same issues, just on and some of the dangerous issues, as far as sometimes the drug and alcoholism. No matter where you at, you have those pockets of issues that you have to deal with as a mayor. And then you got to decide how do you distribute resources to those issues. And it's not an easy thing to do, believe me.
Okay, you want to add to that, Joshua?
No, and Mayor makes a great point. It really doesn't matter what. I want to make sure I say that correctly, because it does matter, but there's not a differentiation between a median income of X and a median income of Y. you still have core services. You still have water, sewer, snow removal, public safety, park and rec. You still have all the same services, same constraints, right? I mean, it don't matter if that trash can is full of expensive food or that trash can is full of scraps. It don't matter. That trash can has to be picked up. Right? It's got to get taken care of. There are same. Now, are there differences in terms of whether it's a suburban or rural community, proximity to neighboring cities? Absolutely. But overall, I would agree that a very high percentage of the constraints are the exact same in almost every city. Same arguments, same beefs, same something's not good enough, or we do this too much or not enough. It's yes.
Same police pension funds, fire pension funds.
Yep.
Wow. This is really informative, and educational for me. I know I wouldn't want to be a mayor of a city. So I'm going to call you Bernard.
That's what you usually call me. You're more comfortable doing that. Go ahead.
Yes. So tell me, what is or was your greatest challenge in being a mayor, and how did you overcome it?
I think the greatest challenge is that when I ran against the incumbent mayor, I had ran before. I lost by 11 votes.
11?
11 votes. And then I ran again. Some year I was off the board for a year and a half. My wife was ill, so I was off the board for a year and a half. Then I came back and ran for mayor. The difficult challenge was that election, but actually winning and then not winning the majority of the board. So now I'm sitting on the board with guys who and ladies who are not very happy that I won.
Oh.
And that not having the ability, because we have a managerial form of government. So the village manager was not my guy. The police department guy was not my guy. The fire chief was not my guy. And so to be able to deal those 18 months were the most difficult time in my time as an elected official. But I learned a lot in those 18 months. I learned a lot from when I lost the first time, because I challenged the mayor a lot that first time, and we televised our board meetings. And so we went back and forth, him and I, on a lot. So after I lost that one race, one thing one of my strategists told me that when you're in a room and you arguing and it's being televised and you arguing with the mayor, people elected that guy. People respect him at the seat. And so you come across as this villain, and it doesn't seem that way, because when you're in the room, you're actually arguing your point. But when people are looking at it from the cable channel, it looks like you're really being mean. And so fast forward that to when I was on the board and I was a mayor and the board was not against me. They were at my throat. They called me everything and would not call me mayor, but I stayed calm. I let them speak because I knew what they were messing up, because I remember what my strategist told me. They felt they was right and coming at me. But in reality, when people was watching them on TV, they seemed like the villains, because they was really attacking the mayor, attacking the seat. And I learned that as I stayed quiet. I say yes, no, I didn't get upset. And I knew when election came, it was a landslide, because they were seen as, attacking the person that they actually had that was elected. So, yeah.
Okay. So, Joshua, I saw you on another forecast, not forecast, anyway, whatever. But I've been up since 3:30 this morning, so I might say anything.
All good.
And I heard you say how communication is extremely important, especially effective communication when it comes to your constituents. And so I was listening to Bernard, and he was talking about the way they were viewing him. So as far as communication is concerned, do you communicate with your constituents on a personal level, or how does that work with you?
So all of my outreach and communication that I do through the medium that someone wants to communicate through. Basically, you have to mix everything up, right? So I think one of the biggest mistakes that people in politics or elected status make is they project and they talk and they interact with people how they want to interact. And I think that's wrong because not everybody wants the same level of communication in the same source. So I'm very active on social media. I do videos, I do posts, I do a lot of sharing. More importantly, I'm actually out in the streets. I'm in the businesses. I'm talking to the business owners. I'm working with our faith leaders and our organizational leaders. I don't need to be a part of everything, but I want to see everything succeed. So it's not about being involved with every organization or group. It's finding out if that organization or group has needs, and it's turning around and getting them to the resources that are going to make them more successful. And sometimes, it might be 2 hours worth of time with one of our pastors once a month, and it just works. It provides enough input on what we need to do to get the job done and the mission completed. So, but regular resident contact, it's daily, it's email, it's phone, it's text, it's Facebook Messenger, it's Instagram Messenger. It's however they want to connect with you. Do not mistake that. If you want to be successful in communication, communicate with how people want to communicate with you. Don't force them down your path. It will not work.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to go to a commercial, but I got a question that I want you all to kind of think about. And it's something that's in the media, in the news. There's a lot of controversy about it. And I want to know what you think about the term defunding the police. So think about that. And just going to go to a quick commercial. Gotta pay the bills, right?
We're back.
Alrighty. We are back.
Okay. It's election time. I was getting some petitions together. Sorry about that.
Wait a minute, you're running for a third term.
Yeah, one more.
All righty. You just can't get enough.
Well, it's one more thing I need to finish.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not a guy that want to stay here forever, but I do want to groom some guys and ladies behind me for good government.
Okay.
And then I want to make sure some of the things we have instituted and move forward get completed. Then I'm ready to move on. I don't want to be here 30 years, and but it's some things that we're trying to complete in our community.
You don't want to be mayor for life?
No. Because you need a life.
You need a life. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to come back to that, but I had a question right before I left, and I want to know what you think about that terminology, what it means to you. How do you interpret that? Start with you, Joshua.
What it means to me. I think the intention behind a lot of what you hear is not necessarily about defunding. This happened in our backyard. There's the narrative behind that is more about abolishing, right? Our community, I am not supportive of any type of defunding, any whatsoever. Public safety, above most. And there are, here, let's be honest, whether it's small municipal government or large municipal government, you have inefficiencies. Now, do we need our licensed peace officers going out to mental health calls? No, we don't. We need mental health professionals going in and having our law enforcement officers there for security and safety, nothing more. And if you ask them, they will tell you the same. There are calls that they go to that they do not need to be going to. So when that argument about, or the conversation about defunding the police is not about getting rid of the police. It needs to be about how do we have proactive law enforcement, proactive fire, proactive, emergency medical services, health services, mental health. There's a proactive side and there's a reactive side. We need to make sure that with any one of our departments that we are as efficient and as effective as we can be. But this crazy talk about just cut the budget, make them go away, and it's going to solve itself. No, that is not a solution for anyone, no matter what you hear the people of Minneapolis screaming right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think Josh, you hit right on the head. I think most of us in government and to have police departments and have conversations with our police, I think the terminology is incorrect. I think that will just sound good when it came out, but I think that what they mean to say is restructure services. All across our nation, we have really ignored mental health. I mean, we just, we keep the guy in the basement, laid in the basement, we ignore it. They just got some issues, when we really need to get mental health patients out of our jails and get them services. I think the term, those who are aware, and Joshua, like I said, right on, the terminology is that being able to fund and have police do what they need to do and have mental health professionals, healthcare professionals, people who deal with juvenile issues. I remember we used to have truant officers that, to deal with kids, not policemen or everything. We've took things and just gave it all to police officers, and they're not trained for that. They're not trained to deal with a lot of those issues. And we used to have community policing, and we have a new one. We started doing more community policing, but deal with issues that they're not criminal issues, but you do need to have a little law enforcement behind you as a community police officer. But that's the guys that really be able to talk, get to know the community, get to know the youth in the community, get to know what guys are kind of, on the edge, but have a relationship with them that they've developed over time. They could really talk to these individuals. So I think we need to help the police department by not putting everything in one basket and say, okay, you're the police, you take care of everything. And that's just unfair to them. And that's what has happened to policemen. and we need to just look at it differently and handle it better. And I think those of us who are in service, and I say it again, I always say this, Joshua, guys who've been in the military, we understand the how to break out things differently, where everyone is being serviced by the appropriate people who provide that service. And if you do that, you'll have a lot less shootings. You have a lot less issues with police officers. A lot of things will change because you're taking it off their plate, and you actually putting it in the hands of the other professionals. And even towns have, money is tight for everyone, and so but we need youth programs that deal with youth. We need it's just, in other words, like Joshua said, it's not defunding. Sometimes you need to move things around to make them more efficient. And that's what I look at it.
I agree with you. I think it's the terminology.
Yes.
I think you both of you are right. It doesn't mean just slashing, the budget. It means, reframing the budget, moving things around, and as you said, more training. And yes, they are asked to do everything. It reminds me, I'm a retired teacher. And teachers now are required to do everything. It's different from police, but to feed the children, sometimes they have to clothe the children, to discipline the children, to babysit. And yes, I agree. Now, I know you touched on something, Vernard, something that you said that you wanted to do, and I want both of you to answer this. Do you have a particular something that you particularly want to do, a particular program, or just something that you want to do for your community?
Okay, I can go first. I have a particular, our community is very diverse as far as economics and as far as culturally, and we have one part of our community which was the original part of Hazel Crest. And as Hazel Crest expanded out, that part of town began to, as Josh probably know, older part of town, just people don't keep it up. It's more difficult to keep it up. But there's some great homes over there and great housing. We just had a 32.5 million square foot Amazon open up right down the street. It's the largest Amazon in the country. Just opening up in Markham. And so they have homes over there people actually could buy for $40,000, which are very nice, smaller homes. We have a 15-foot back into all our backyards in the village of Hazel Crest, so you get a nice. So what my goal is now is to kind of refurbish that part of town, to get it back up to par, to get businesses, because we know what Amazon people are going to need to eat, they're going to need to buy stuff, they're going to need to travel, and we're exactly across the street from Markham, and that area is also a trans-oriented district where we have our metro train that comes right through there. And we just built with the help of the RTA, Regional Transit Authority, a $3.5 million refurbished our metro station. So we know that is an area that we think we're going to see people start to move to. And so we want to, my goal, and that's why I'm doing one of the reasons I'm doing another term, is to actually spearhead the redevelopment of that area, because it sits right off of 80, which is one of our big thoroughfares, sitting right at the metro and sitting right across the street from this enormous Amazon. And so that's one of my focuses I'm looking to accomplish.
Okay. And Joshua, what about you? What are your plans for your city?
So I'm going to answer this two ways, because, first and foremost, as an elected official, you're supposed to put your personal aside and what is best for the residents, right? So in my current term as council member and future term as mayor, our economic development is completely out of whack. Our tax base is so lopsided to ag and residential. I mean, our commercial industrial only represents 3% of our gross acreage, and we're 15 square miles. So our commercial industrial is really, really small. It's grown by less than $100,000 over the last 10 years. We've just kind of hit that bedroom community. We've reached a few constraints in terms of land availability, pricing, future zoning use, et cetera. we need to completely revamp our economic development plans for the next 10 years. We need to have real conversations with landowners, with property owners, with existing businesses, prospective businesses, and we need it to align with our budget, our capital improvement plan, and our financial plan. We have to have more synergy between all of these plans and reality, because without it, we're just kind of shooting from the hip. And that's in the private sector, that's a going out of business strategy.
Yes.
So
Okay.
we need to do that. From a personal standpoint, I lost my father to suicide at the age of 19.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Suicide awareness and mental health awareness and suicide prevention it has been in the forefront for me. And using my reach and my platform as an elected official and within my network, I've established some pretty phenomenal relationships with representatives from the University of Michigan, University of Minnesota, Minnesota VA, John Hopkins University, Dakota County. I mean, it's just across the board how many people I've been able to meet and how many different systems and programs are currently being worked on, but lack funding or lack proper oversight and maintenance for sustainability over time. But I would love to, within Dakota County and specifically within the city of Farmington, I would love to see some type of a local veteran service office that is geared specifically for suicide awareness prevention, surviving spouses. I would like it to be, veteran orientated, but obviously open to all, somewhere that you can go and have youth education classes and, question, persuade, refer classes. Just mental health is going to be a major issue for years to come. And we need to beat that drum as loud as we can. So
That my husband talks about that all the time, about how much money should be spent on mental health. And I want to ask this too: has COVID-19 has that affected either one of you all's community?
Yes. Oh, yes. I think it's affected everyone in the country. One thing about where we live in the southwest suburbs of Chicago, unlike a metropolitan area where everything is umbrella under the city, you have healthcare services, social services, educational services, business and commerce. In the Southland, we have a lot of organizations that are work in the silo. And when COVID happened, we were looking for the county to help us out, but we really didn't have a strategy where everyone can work together. And I'm always getting in the middle of things. So I decided to call some of these boards I sit on and some of the individuals in our community. I said, look, can we come together? We have 3 hospitals in the area, with the hospitals, with some of the social service agencies, 90 Way and other organizations that I'm involved with, and actually come up with a plan. And I said, well, we can call it the South-Southwest Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. They said, that's a lot. I said, we're going to do a lot. And so we called Congresswoman Robin Kelly, Congressman Bobby Rush, 3 Cook County commissioners, and we had a meeting and said, what do you guys think if we came together? Do you think we get support for what we're trying to do? And they agreed. And from that phone call, from an organization that really is not an organization, just collaborative, from May to now, we've brought almost $3 million to organizations in our region. Everyone, we got off the phone call and we broke up in different groups. We had a infrastructure and commerce group. We had a healthcare group. We had a community engagement. We had education. And we broke it off from people who were in this small group that we established. And they just went out and started doing the work, started talking to each other, communicating. And United Way, which is a big, supporter of with COVID, they had raised like $28 million to give out to the city of Chicago and other areas. They found out what we were doing, and they actually gave like $70,000 to 60 organizations that we were working with. And then the Chicago Community Trust heard about what we were doing, and they brought in another $250,000 to afford. And actually, they said, well, what organization you want us to give the money to? And us not really being a not-for-profit or a business, we told them organizations that we think are doing the work, that we found are actually doing the work, and they actually gave them the funds. So it was like building the plane while we were flying. Okay. And the good thing is that these relationships now, we're talking COVID and beyond. We came up with a logo. We got a mission statement for organizations that really exist. But what's exciting the people who were on the initial call were all the presidents from the hospital, presidents of all these organizations. So they were the ones that make the decisions. And so they have continued to be involved, and it's been phenomenal. The funding we've got, the businesses that we have with the PPP, because a lot of small businesses, they didn't know how to get the money. And banks weren't giving them to the small business. They were giving them to their guys who they already got the big loans with. Right. So we was able to restructure that through the Small Business Development Center we have here, and through the Southland Development Authority. We had just began to develop this development authority, and we were able to go after we helped over 150 small businesses. Actually, especially the second wave of the PPP money, we're able to get them financed. So it's been that. Now, not to get us wrong, COVID has been devastating to us.
Okay.
But we were able to not get ahead of it, but actually mitigate it as we move forward. And now, we got the retired NBA players supporting training coaches about COVID, how important it is, how don't be so fast to get kids into sports. Because what we understand is that even though you may have it and get better, the residual effects later in life, we are not sure how it's going to hurt you. So,
yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What we've been doing, and that's what I've been doing besides all the other stuff I do. I don't know why. Everybody call me and say, "Are you crazy? You just don't have a life." It's been successful, and I love that kind of stuff, and I love it when we can actually. Now I think in the future we'll all be talking to each other, and so
right.
yes, COVID has affected us that way, and we've been working hard on it.
So, what about you, Joshua? What about your community?
Well, I will second the mayor's statement that somehow we find a way to put 29 hours into 24 every day. Okay. We just do. I did that, square peg, round hole thing. We make it work.
Yeah.
No, COVID has been unreal. I can't say it any other way. I mean, I'm self-employed. I'm a general contractor. So late February, early March, when in Minnesota, the executive orders started coming out, it was like every 2 days and there was a change and there was a change and there was a change. And we get it. It's science. Some of it's known, some of it's not. You're building the plane as you're flying it, right? So I get it. But at some point over like the first 3 months, like we had to do something and everything was reactionary. And it felt like in June, once some businesses started opening up and some things started to really loosen, we could go through protocols, get people back into City Hall, get them back into the liquor store, start opening up some of those core services, just getting some normalcy restored. But at the end of the day, I mean, really, it comes down to funding, right? So like for us, we had within the city of Farmington, we had $1.7 million of CARES Act funding. So we took and we allocated $500,000 to our small businesses in micro grants. So it was 10 grand per business. We had it facilitated through the county. The CDA took care of it. And then they matched it too. So they just came back out with another 5 million. Yeah. So, everything that, we're literally flying by the seat of our pants. A lot of it you just have to figure out as you go, and it's maintain core services, maintain public health and safety, get people the resources that they need. And there's some great things that have come out of COVID, though. I don't want it to be all somber, and I think a lot of people, they hang on that, right? It's compelling. That's the news story is, what's bad or worse today. But like in our community, the food drives that we put together.
Oh, yes.
That platform, it was like the greatest time of need. We put it together and they're continuing on. Every Wednesday we have a free community meal. We started serving, I think there's 25 people at the first meal. Now they're serving almost 200 a week. So there's some great things and some better efficiencies and better programs that are going to come out of the response to COVID. And I think that's what I continue to focus on. And that's what excites me.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask this last question, and I want you to answer in one sentence because it's only got about 3 minutes to go.
Okay.
If you can do that.
We're politicians.
I know. I needed 2 hours. In one sentence, if someone wants to be a mayor or a politician or a community leader, what's the one thing you would tell them? One sentence. Can you do that?
Patience and dedication.
Okay, was good. What about you, Joshua?
Lead by example.
Oh, both of those.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And we had some comments. I got so interested. And but let's see now. Well, there's someone that just said, hello, Dr. Jen, that's Misty, and to the guests. And Denise Fields says that great responses. So she really likes what you all are saying. And Maxine Walker, this was about policemen, that she feels that you all are helpers and doers. And I agree with her. This has been just, I wish I had more time. Yes, she said, yeah, he did. He got it right. Okay. I wish I had, more time, because this has been so interesting and so enlightening. I think that both of you all are just, you're doing such a wonderful service to your communities. And Bernard, I sincerely hope, well, I know you probably going to win the third term.
I'm gonna run like I run like it ain't anything, man.
And Joshua,
Yes, ma'am.
the next time I speak with you, I'll be calling you Mayor Hoyt. Definitely. You are both dedicated to your communities, and I applaud you, and I know that my audience applauds you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I've got a couple of other things I got to do. I think I got a minute, and I want to thank both of you all for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it, and I know my audience appreciates it. So I want to tell you all to stay safe. Oh, here's another comment. Sandy Barney Ennis says you all are visionaries.
I do want to say I used to live in Crookston, Minnesota.
Oh, all right. All right.
I went to school there at the University of Minnesota before I played football there at Crookston. I used to work in North Dakota.
Okay.
At the Ramada Inn.
Do you know the Donarski family in Crookston?
I don't know. No, that's a small town too. I might have known.
No, it is. Yeah.
I lived there for 2 years.
All right. All right.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I hope both of you all communicate with each other in the future. So I know Bernard can give you some pointers. And yeah.
Absolutely.
So thank you all both for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Take care, sir. Good luck. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you for your service.
All right. Good night.
Okay.
Wow. That has been amazing. I really have enjoyed that. But I want you all, oh, it's 8 o'clock already. Oh my goodness. I want you all to know that if you would like to advertise on the show and increase your visibility, because we reach a little over 4,000 people in every episode, then you can contact me at janfornow125@gmail.com. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, I'm always looking for guests. You can also reach me at janfornow125@gmail.com. We will normally I'm on every 2 weeks, but since there were 3 Thursdays this month, I will be on again next week. So be sure and tune in to Relationship Matters next week. And Denise says this was a great forum. I want to thank all of you who tuned in. And for those who, if this is your first show, you can go on Relationship Matters TV on Facebook, and you can see some previous episodes. So I have to say good night, good morning, good day. Stay safe. Wear your mask, please. We want to see all of you here next year, next week, tomorrow, next year. Have a good, blessed rest of your day. Bye-bye.